Marco Polo had arrived from the Pamirs via the Hexi Corridor, and he wrote about Zhang Qian in his diary. This is what he wrote. Zhang Qian is a fine large town with a few Muslims and Christians as well as Buddhists. There are many Buddhist temples, and Buddhist images can be seen all over the town. Among these are several of great size, some of which are covered with gold leaf and are of quite superior workmanship. One particularly big statue is lying on its side. It's surrounded by several smaller figures praying. Marco Polo was talking about the Nyepan Buddha, which still exists today. It's more than 35 meters or 100 feet long and was made in the year 1098. So it was already more than 200 years old when Marco Polo saw it. Although it's true that the Chinese first really opened up the Hexi Corridor, they only actually controlled strongholds and important sections of the route. Many tribes have fought battles here since the Han Dynasty, in spite of the Chinese being in control. The merchants from the west came through here with their camels on their way to Chang'an, and most of them were members of small tribes from Central Asia. Many of those tribes are only known today because their merchants once used to frequent the Hexi Corridor. We went up into the Qilian Mountains to look for evidence of some of the old tribes. Here we're about 200 kilometers or 120 miles off the Silk Road. And in these foothills a number of nomadic people are still living. They include Uyghur and Hui tribesmen, Tibetans and Manchus. We often saw people on the move with their tents carried on the backs of their yaks, followed by herds of goats. After the revolution, the Chinese government protected these small tribes by setting up autonomous governments in various places. We visited the Sunan Uyghur Autonomous Region, which is almost 3,000 meters or 10,000 feet above sea level. The Uyghur people greeted us in a special folk costume which they wear only on festive occasions. In their own language, the Uyghur people call themselves Uyghurs. The two characters that they use when writing this in Chinese mean rich and strong, and these characters were recently adopted as a sort of good luck charm. The clothing of the Uyghur people is rather like that in Tibet, but their features are more like Mongolians. They speak the Uyghur language, and their religion is Lamaistic Buddhism, like the Tibetans. But there are no records to suggest which of the ancient Silk Road tribes they're descended from. The tribe has no writing system of its own, but today the young people are studying Chinese, including Chinese characters, and many of them have adopted Chinese names. Their staple foods are wheat and the meat of goats. This is a kind of soup made from yak's milk and tea leaves, their only source of vitamin C.
Gel de daha çağızı.